I'm going to take a shot on this one.
I'm going to say beer.
I'm buying everybody around on this. Oh my god. All right, guys. So, of course, as every week, we do all this by choosing topics based on our confidence and our choice of drink. So we're going to start with this one. JG Pageau is the Islanders' leading Conn Smythe candidate right now. And I'll put this over to Miss LaRocco, who suggested this.
So, if Sorokin had stayed in, continued playing the way he was, I would say, just by, the obvious factor, you'd probably have to say him. But I'm gonna say round here. I know Beuvillier has been really, really good too. Pageau, 9 points in the 9 games he's played. He's been, crucial on offensive zone draws, defensive zone draws. He's played, now that they're at home, he got matched up against perfection line, and not a coincidence, the Islanders played against them better with his forward trio out there against them. So he's been scoring, he's been there defensively. He's a spark plug, energy player, hits, does whatever it takes to win. So I'm gonna go with him over Beuvillier, but it's close. But I'm gonna say Pageau right now would have to be the Islanders' Conn Smythe favorite.
Phil?
Wow, that's actually a good one. I'm gonna say beer, and the reason why I say beer, but I could see why someone would want to buy around on this, is that in 2016 and 2017, Sidney Crosby was not the Pittsburgh Penguins' top scorer, but he took on all the tough matchups, scored while doing so close to a point per game both years, and somehow got the Conn Smythe over Matt Murray in 2016, who was really good for them, who I thought should have been the Conn Smythe winner, and Phil Kessel, who was the leading scorer in the playoffs in 2016. Then Evgeny Malkin was absolutely dominant during the 2017 playoff run, and Sidney Crosby still, again, got the Conn Smythe over him. So I can absolutely see the case for JG Pageau. I personally would give it to Anthony Beuvillier, because I don't think they get out of that first round without Beuvillier scoring the way that he did against the Penguins. So I'm gonna have to say beer, but I don't blame anybody that picks Pageau here. It's actually a really good choice.
I'm gonna go beer as well, but I'm gonna say almost the other direction on this. Pageau is certainly a good candidate when you take into account that he's got all the matchups. The Beuvillier is a good one. A guy you look at with the stats, like Josh Bailey's he's their leading scorer in the playoffs every single year, even though he scores like 1. No, don't worry about that. I have the same opinion about Josh Bailey, but again, you look at Anthony Beuvillier, and once Barzal starts scoring, he's going to be right there as another candidate too. The answer is, though, right now, yeah, I'm still going beer. And again, as I always like to say whenever I say his name, fuck you, JG Pageau. It's 2017, or sorry, 2018 with the Rangers. 2017. 2017. That 4-goal game. I will forever hate you, JG Pageau. I am so glad you're a New York Islander. So, the perfection line will decide the series. John?
I'm going to buy everybody around on this one. As I said, the Islanders were going to have a lot harder of a time with that line. And I know that they didn't run roughshod the way that they did in Game 1, but they've still been productive these last 2 games, and they've still given Pelech and Pullock fits. And you could see it. And you know what? To Pelech and Pullock's credit, they've slowed them down a bit, which is good, and it's kept them in these last 2 games. But they're definitely having quite a bit of success with one of the better defensive pairs in the league. So if that line gets back to close to where they were in Game 1, I think the Islanders are in a lot of trouble. So yeah, I would say that, and then I would say Tuukka Rask is probably the next deciding factor. So I'm gonna buy everybody around on this.
Anthony.
Ooh, this is so close because I'm going back and forth between Round and Beer only because I know John just mentioned the goaltending. I think the goaltending might decide this series too because I mean look at it, game 2, Rask let in 4 goals, the Islanders won. Last game, close game, 1-1 game, and one of the reasons why Boston won is because of a terrible goal let in by Varlarmov. So I think goaltending is going to play a huge factor in this series going forward. But at the same time, the perfection line will have their hand in it too. So this one really is a close one. But I guess I'll go Beer just because I'm giving a slight edge to the goaltending on this one. I think the goaltending really has already impacted the series greatly. But yeah, the perfection line's been really good too. I think they have given Pelech and Pullock fits. I thought specifically Pelech's been a little better. Game 2 he was good. I thought actually last game 3 he was a monster last night. I thought he played really well. He had that one really nice hit against Pasternak. That grew a pretty loud ovation. I don't know what period it was in, but he was physical. He was on pucks. But I like I said, it's really close. But I'm gonna go goaltending, so I'm gonna go Beer on this.
Quick one.
Go ahead, Phil.
To say a quick one before you go, Mark. I definitely agree with you on Pelech. I think Pelech's been the best defenseman in this series, not named Charlie McAvoy.
So the second best defenseman in this series.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna go again. I gotta agree. It's a Beer, because it's either going to be the perfection line or the goaltending. And the goaltending, if you make the stop, great. That's what you need. That's Semyon Varlamov was one save away from keeping the game going. The other thing though is you then look at Game 5 when the perfection line got rolling, and they just flexed their muscle, took over the game, swept everybody away. I think it's going to be the goaltending. Not saying that these guys aren't going to be able to do that as well. The New York Rangers will be the Toronto Maple Leafs in 5 years. Anthony, I'm going to start you.
I'm gonna go shot only because I'm taking this question in the context of just absolutely choking year after year. I mean, I don't see the Rangers doing that, or really any team reaching that type of embarrassment that the Maple Leafs have in the last couple of years. I mean, cap-wise, I mean, in that maybe, but no. I mean, the Maple Leafs have just continued to choke year after year. I mean, this year it was like, oh, we're in the North Division, we're gonna cruise through this thing, which they did, and like, oh, we have a free pass to the Final Four, being who was in our division, and they just, I mean, completely just fell apart against Montreal. I mean, it was actually quite astonishing to see.
Picked Montreal in 7.
Yeah, I know. Me and Phil, we both picked the Habs at 7. Oh, I got nervous there for a while. I'm like, well, that's gonna blow.
Somebody picked the Leafs in 5.
Yes, in fact, and to the Leafs in a minute here. But in specific to this question, I'm gonna say no. I mean, yeah, anything's possible, but I just don't see a team doing what the Maple Leafs done, since really, you'd say, 2013 on, really, more specifically the last 3 or 4 years. But yeah, I don't see that happening.
Phil?
I think in order to just answer this question in a very short manner, you could just easily post a video clip from Little John's shots video and just have it play on repeat. But since we're actually going to get into like breaking this down and stuff like that, and we're gonna be somewhat formal about it, I'm just going to ask you if you're the one that posed that question, because if so,
I did.
Oh, you did? All right, so you definitely have a career in stand-up comedy then. Yeah, but no, I honestly, I've been taught throughout my life, on a somewhat serious note, to learn from others' mistakes. And I've had people in my life that I could say that I've learned from their mistakes and not to do it. And I'm pretty sure that Chris Drury will learn from Kyle Dubas's mistakes. You know, I'm not sure if Kyle Dubas survives this offseason, even though Shanahan seems to want to take another few runs with the same core. I don't get it.
Yeah, based on his comments the other day.
Yeah, I don't know if I believe that or not. But if they do, I mean, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, or no, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. But yeah, there's no way that Rangers become the Toronto Maple Leafs. See ya. Better drafting. They've already addressed the positions that Toronto seems to refuse to address: defense, goaltending. So they're already not the Toronto Maple Leafs. They're just not there yet because they don't have a bunch of 24-year-old superstars, 3 core players yet. So they'll get there, and they won't be the Maple Leafs.
Okay, so that's a shot, right?
Yeah, that's
Making
my
sure.
Little John video,
Okay. Oh, the shots. Oh, I should have just put that up. I'm gonna go with everybody. Okay.
Everybody.
I'm gonna go with shot 2 because they better not be. They could easily make mistakes, sign free agents that they shouldn't, overpay for the players that they already have, and then be in a division where you're at best a third place team. Like, that's the other part of this. That's what's even worse. The Maple Leafs, and this will be part of the next question that's going to come up. But I mean, the Maple Leafs have a ceiling. They're not getting any further. They were first place team this year. Yay! But
that was just because of the North Division. They wouldn't have posed the record they had if it was the normal Atlantic Division. No way.
Right, like you take Carolina come back into the Metropolitan next year, and you're going to put them back in the Atlantic. So again, shot for the Rangers. Learn from Toronto. They're a cautionary tale. More on that in a little bit. By the way, before I announce this next one, you noticed my Live Over Par hat right here. Follow Live Over Par on Instagram. It's about golf memes. It's from my friend who's sitting right over here, who's reading and being very quiet right now as I do this. Okay, guys, Toronto needs to tear it down. Anthony.
Well, tear it down, no, but in the specific to this question, tear it down. I'll go shot there, but what they do need to do is they need to reform their team a little bit. Listen, they're too top heavy. I said it the other day when we were talking in our group chat. You go in cap friendly and you add up the cap hits of Marner, Matthews, Tavares, Nylander. You're just about at $40 million. When your cap's 80, 81, whatever it is, half the cap on 4 guys, all forwards too. It's not going to work in this era. And I don't know, I think it was EJ Raddick, I think, was watching NHL Live yesterday, and he said that when they were talking about it, he said from the start he didn't think they needed to go out and sign John Tavares because, and if you look at it, he's right. They had Matthews, Kadri, Nylander, all centers. That's a formidable 3. You did not need to add John Tavares. I don't know if it was because Kyle Dubas took over and he wanted to be a big shot and the lore of signing a guy who, who's from Toronto and, the whole hometown story. He thought it was a good feeling. Oh yeah, rah, 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 good story. Let's sign him. Like, he didn't need to do that. Think about it. $11 million. They could have spent that and got a very, very formidable, let's say, top pair defenseman, and then still had money left over to get like a good second line goal scorer or whatever. They could have just handled that so much differently. And now they're stuck because if you look at it, if you break down their big 4, you're not trading Matthews. I mean, he's one of the best players in the game, elite goal scorer. You're just simply not moving him. Then you go to Tavares. Realistically, out of the 4, you could say, yeah, maybe you want to move him because he's the oldest. His numbers are going down a little bit, but no one's taking that contract. He's got 4. So you got 4 or 5 more years left on that deal at $11 million. no one's taking that contract unless you attach some really good assets to it. So you're not really going to move him. That leaves Nylander and Marner, and both good players. But even Marner was great. He was in the top 5 in scoring this year. So like he's a really good player. But do you want to move a guy like that? I don't know. So they're going to have to make a decision on which guy they move, Nylander or Marner. That's what it comes down to for me. And then what I would do, I wouldn't even trade him for an equivalent player. I would move him for like picks and prospects, so you could really make use of that cap space, and then go out and kind of retool after that. But I know some people, I know I mentioned it too, but more people talking about it now is making a trade, a straight across trade for Seth Jones, which I could see. I mean, I get the premise of it, but I don't know, man. I mean, they need better goaltending. I know Jack Campbell was good for them in the regular season. He had good numbers, but I don't think he's the answer in goal. Freddie Anderson's a UFA. I don't know they're going to be bringing him back, and even if they did, I don't think he's the guy either. Their defense, I mean, I don't know. Morgan Riley's good, but I mean, he's not the best defensively. Travis Dermott. I mean, Jake Muzzin's good. He got hurt, which was a big loss for them. But overall, they have a lot of issues. And one of the knocks on them was that they've always been soft. So they got like Wayne Simmons, and they added him. Nick Foligno. They added experience with Joe Thornton, Spezza. Still didn't work out. So you know what? They have a lot of a lot of questions to answer because their fan base is getting impatient, and it's either A, fire Dubas, or you make that move where you move one of the big four. So it's going to be really interesting what they do, but boy, do they need to do something. So to answer this all, tear it down, no shot, but they do need to they need to split up that top 4 big guys.
Phil.
I'm in the same exact boat for Anthony. A lot of things that he said were just bang on, literally spot on, 100%. The thing that I think about, and you brought up the whole Tavares thing, because if they didn't sign John Tavares and they kept Nazem Kadri and they kept the core that they had, you could have taken that $11 million that you given to John Tavares, and you probably would have had Alex Pietrangelo. And Alex Pietrangelo would have done a hell of a lot more for that team than John Tavares could. So you're looking at that. Also to add to the whole Seth Jones trade idea to Toronto, you have, I would put together this proposal. I would say, if I'm Toronto, and I know a lot of people are not going to be happy about the idea of dealing Mitch Marner, but I would deal Mitch Marner to Columbus, Seth Jones, Alexander Texier, and Columbus's 5th overall pick in this year's draft. And if I'm Toronto at that point, I take Jesper Wallstedt. I take Wallstedt. You get your franchise goalie, you get a center in Texier, who could also play wing, and you get Seth Jones on defense. Because remember, you gotta give Morgan Riley a new deal if you're going to keep him. So do you
1 year away?
Well, and give him close to $10 million? Because I don't think he's personally worth that. I think he's a very good puck mover, but I think defensively he's really not good at all. I don't like him in his own zone. I think the advanced stats would probably support that as well, because I know the eye test definitely does. And I mean, you gotta include Riley as part of their core as well. I know everybody talks about the big 4, but Riley's part of that fantastic 5, if you will. You want to call it that. So again, no, Toronto does not need to tear it down, but they need to make a significant move to shake things up here, because they're not going to win with what they have. And it's funny because Dubas went out and addressed things that they needed addressed. He went out and addressed the lack of veteran leadership. He brought in Thornton. He brought in Spezza. He brought in Simmons. But he brought in guys that, they never won cups. They never won. They don't have a winning culture there, and I think that's the biggest problem with that team, is they don't have a winning culture. And you know what? You could say what you want about Mike Babcock, but Mike Babcock knew how to win. And then you brought in a lesser experienced coach who doesn't know how to win at this level, and that doesn't help that group either. So, I maybe it's not just the players, but maybe Sheldon Keefe needs to be replaced by a more veteran, experienced coach. Does Toronto look at Rick Tocchet? Do they look at, Rod Brindamore? If Rod Brindamore becomes available, Rod Brindamore should have probably about, I would say, at least 20 teams knocking at his door if Carolina somehow can't fork over the money, if Dundon wants to play cheap with them or something. So no, shot, but Toronto definitely needs to make a significant move or moves.
I'll be quick about this because we got to start speeding up. But I'm actually going to go off beer on this because that needs to be considered. How are you going to do that? It's not going to really be feasible. And also, when you talk about it, you have two of the best young players in the game in Marner and Matthews, and you can figure that out. Again, the Tavares thing shouldn't have happened. They didn't need him. They did it for the publicity, and they were trying to go over the top with one more player. You never address the back end. The back end has always been a disaster for them. Now, as far as the other reason why I'm going up here on it is, where did they go from here? I have no idea where they go. Like, you're going to get better than Tampa. You're not going to get better than Boston. You're not going to be like, what are they doing? That's why I'm completely lost. I don't know what it is, because Sheldon Keefe, is he the problem? Dubas was given A grades by a lot of newspapers and pundits for what he did at the deadline. So it's like, even when they make the right moves, they're still wrong. So,
did you like that video? Of course you did. So why not check out some more of our content? You can check the playlist right here or right here.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.